Of the Housing Debrief, Season 4. So here we are, Season 4. It's hard to believe. Started this thing in March of 2020 in the midst of the COVID lockdowns, and just wanted to better explain what was going on in the marketplace. So here we are, and it's been really exciting and a lot of fun to follow this thing. Last year was a bit of a slog because the market was continuously slowing down, but we've got a lot to share today. I want to bring you the latest and greatest as to how the market has been evolving since we last spoke back in November. So let's go ahead and get this party going. Here we are. And so I'm asking everybody to like and subscribe as usual. Want the YouTube algorithms to go nuts so that we can get the proper information out to the masses so they understand exactly what's going on. There's nothing like setting expectations so adults can make good decisions based upon good facts and data so that they can carry out their home ownership dreams and do what's best for their family. So this one is called a housing bounce because we're seeing something unique in the information. I wanted to bring it because it was a lot different than what I had really anticipated. So kind of want to talk about this housing bounce. A lot of other people have been talking about a housing bounce. I actually see it in the pending sales activity, and we'll get into that. So understand that housing is definitely has a lot to do with what's going on with rates. We're very rate dependent across the United States, and housing specifically is very rate dependent. So as we learned last year, and 2022 was the year where everything was interest rates were going up. They were going up like crazy. We started off the year really low in the threes, made our way surpassing 7%. That was a gigantic change and has everything to do with inflation. So inflation has definitely impacted the Fed's decisions and the decisions of the marketplace with higher interest rates. And the Fed has definitely come out swinging. Last year, it was kind of like they were dialing up their rhetoric and dialing up how aggressive they were going to be coming out of August. There you go. We were absolutely at the very end of August, coming out of Jackson Hole, Wyoming, their economic symposium. They were definitely going to be as steady as she goes, inflicting pain on both the consumers and as well as companies. And from that point on, everybody understood that the Fed was definitely all in and they were not going to pivot. That's where we had interest rates float up from 5 to 7%. Big giant change. Speaking of that, so we had interest rates that went from 3.25% all the way up to 7.37%. That's where they eclipsed. That was the highest. It surpassed 7% in both October and November, and that set up a really slow fourth quarter. Not a lot of closed sales. Closed sales plummeted. So did the number of people coming on the market. The market really came to a crawl and slowed immensely compared to where we were during the COVID years of the second half of 2020, all of 2021, and about the first 5 months of 2022. So really, at the end of the day, with high interest rates, it really put the brakes on the housing market significantly. And you could see that with the Federal Reserve. They've been ratcheting up the short-term interest rate. They've done it at almost an alarming clip, a clip that was constantly changing. They kept on changing the bar higher and higher as to how high they were going to go, which is why interest rates kept on floating up higher and higher as the market was digesting what they were talking about. Inflation has really been the root of the problem, and it took about 18 months for inflation to continuously grow. It wasn't overnight that we had inflation. And this wasn't like the 1980s, too. A lot of people like to compare it to the 1980s or 1970s, and understand that went back. We were dealing with inflation for a very long time. This time around is a little bit different. We've had inflation for a short period of time, yet it took about 18 months to get from where they like to be, that target rate, all the way up until we peaked in the middle of last year. So as a result, we have inflation. This is the headline inflation. This is the most recent report. We'll get a new report now that we're in month February very shortly. But in January, we saw that this is definitely a trend. We've already established a height in inflation and it's coming down. This is headline. This is core. And core is the blue line. They want it to be at 2%. It's going to take a while to get there. Understand that it took a long time to get all the way up to where we were in the middle of the year to where we are right now today. It's going to even take longer to get down to that 2% target rate that the Federal Reserve wants to be at. Now, as a result of coming down now in inflation, we've had the 10-year Treasury start to really fall. As a matter of fact, it has had a hard time falling below 3.5% until the Fed met and talked yesterday morning. And as a result, we've had the 10-year fall a little bit yesterday, fell a little bit more today, and here we are right now at 3.402%. Now, understand, I follow 10-year Treasuries, so do a lot of lenders. Everybody really should, because it will give you the proper direction of where interest rates are headed based upon this. So at 3.402%, you can see how we were higher, much higher recently, and now it's starting to come down. Now let's take a look at mortgage rates. Well, as of today, we're at 5.99%. It's the first time that we've had interest rates fall below 6% since the middle of September. It actually dates back to September 12th. And these rates, even where they are today at 5.99%, the last time prior to this period of time that we experienced these kind of rates was back in November of 2008. Now, you can understand when we got to 7%, we were dealing with interest rates that we had not seen since 2001, 2002. So we're headed the right direction, and understand that where rates are headed this year, it's going to continuously, slowly but surely come down. As a matter of fact, that is what we're anticipating. Understand that rates will follow inflation, and it's just the slow, methodical grind down. So now let's talk about the housing market. The housing market, as a result of inflation coming down, and where the Fed is talking about kind of like holding this 0.25% that we had yesterday rate hike. Matter of fact, interest rates went down even though they did the 0.25% rate hike, and that's because it's short-term rate that they control, not long-term end like 30-year mortgages. So short-term stuff is like credit card debt. But understand that as a result of what's gone on with the Fed, we're slowly but surely seeing interest rates coming down, and we've established a height. The height was already at 7%. Now we're making our way down below 6% into the 5s. And as this happens, we're actually seeing the market heat up. Now that we know that there's a top and interest rates are slowly falling, a lot more people are entering the marketplace. So that slow fourth quarter of October, November, December is kind of like we're going to bounce off of that. And that doesn't mean that housing values will stop going down, because they are presently going down. They're just going to they're going to go down a little bit slower. And as a result, soon, when rates get to a certain point, because we have such low supply, we're actually going to see values stop going down and could actually go up. So I'd like to thank our sponsor, Alan Mack from Mack Financial Services. Once again, he's back for sponsorship, and he's sponsoring the Housing Debrief. The first episode, he has the $1 million plus program. That's kind of what he does. He has a superior luxury residential financing is what he does. But as far as luxury, pretty much almost everything here in SoCal is kind of luxury. So he deals with everything that's non-conforming loans. And that's really where jumbos begin. I know that you can actually get loans in high cost areas that are a little bit higher than this, but anything above 726.2, he's got excellent products for that. And he shops the lowest rate. He gets the best rate in town, and he has a network of private and regional banks. He knows the best of the best in these banks, and he has high net worth clients that he works with as well, where they need cash flow analysis and asset depletion. So he deals with all jumbo and then high net worth clients as well. And he has a couple specials that I wanted to bring to your attention. He wanted to bring to our attention. That's special, a 2-1 buy down. It's a 7-1 ARM, which means it's fixed for 7 years. And that's at 4.875%. with 20% down, you get this 2-1 buy down. It starts at 2.875%. And also, he has a special doctor's loan that's at 95% LTV to $1.5 million at 5.125%. It's also a 7-1 arm, and the qualifications for that are a little are not as strict too. He has for the same doctor's loans, it's 90% LTV to $2 million, and starts at 5%. That's a 7-1 arm. And there are terms and conditions that, of course, apply. Talk to Alan for all of that, and he can get you the latest and greatest. But he has a load of experience. He's been doing this since 1988, over 100 5-star reviews, unparalleled knowledge. He was a 2022 market leader, according to Forbes magazine. That was the December-January issue. And Alan Mack from Mack Financial Services, you can contact Alan and get the lowest rate. So let him help you. And you can call 949-929-1091. That's 949-929-1091. And back to the market heating up. That is exactly what's going on. Understand the market runs in seasons. There are 5 seasons. Spring is the best. People transact year round, but the number one month for them or number one season is spring, because families like to move over to the summertime. They need to get involved in the market in spring so that they can open up a pending sale, and then they can close in the summer. So spring is best in terms of number of homes coming on the market and in demand. Summer is second, then autumn, then winter, which is where we're at now. Holidays is the slowest time of the year, and especially this last holiday market. So we're in winter, and that's where supply does not change much at all. As a matter of fact, it can go down, it can go up slightly, or stay the same. And that's I have news for where it's going right now. It's also where demand surges. Once we get past those New Year's resolutions and no longer going to the gym, that's about the middle of January, all of a sudden we have a lot of activity in the marketplace. And there's still this low supply versus low demand, but that's slowly, methodically changing on the demand side. One favors sellers, that's the low supply. One favors buyers, that's the low demand because of the higher interest rates. But that's beginning to diminish as more buyers enter the marketplace. We have a housing shortage. It is very acute. I used to call it a housing catastrophe, and then I called it a housing crisis, then a catastrophe. I'm back to calling it a crisis. Nationally, know that we have a problem of not enough homes on the market. As a matter of fact, in the last week, it actually went down, not normal. And for Southern California, I have news for you as to where it's at right now. This is where we are right now. If I draw a line across, the only time it was less than this was during the COVID years of 2021 and 2022, the start of 2022. And as far as where are the number of available homes to show buyers today, where is it at? Today, it's at 21,639, but it went down 5% in the last 2 weeks. It went down 1,127 homes. So it's actually going the wrong direction. And this is very reminiscent of 2021, a COVID line. It does not normally go down this much. There are a lot of other things at play. There's this new dynamic of the golden handcuffs of low mortgage rates preventing homeowners from listing their homes. That's what we call hunkering down. And last year at this time, we were at 12,274. It took time to get there, and know that that was the lowest of all time. And it was 43% less than where we are today. But last year, there was nothing available. As a matter of fact, so few homes available that it cut into the number of pending sales that were possible at the very start of the year. And the 3-year average prior to COVID, which is 2017, 18, and 19, we were at 33,532 at this time of the year. That's 55% more, an extra 12,000 homes on the market. And I was very, very surprised to see this drop in the inventory. So that's why I'm bringing it to you. It's one of the surprises in this bounce that I talked about. Part of it is typically we get a lot of homes coming on the market, and you could see that from December to January, it doubles the number of homes that come on the market. Still, it's not the spring season. Everybody says, come on the market, it's really good around Super Bowl, but families don't like to get involved until we get to the spring. So that's where you see in the month of May is when more homes come on the market than any other time. So you can, there is a real hunkering down that's going on right now. This beautiful family is having fun on their porch because there's not enough room in their house. They want to move, but they can't. And why can't they move? Because they're locked in at a very low mortgage rate. As a matter of fact, it's something that I referred to as hunkering down last year. And in California, 89% of all people with mortgages, so 40% actually own their home free and clear, but 89% that have mortgages have an interest rate at 5% or lower. 71% have an interest rate at 4% or lower, and 29% have an interest rate at 3% or lower. And it's precluding a lot of people from selling their homes. As a matter of fact, you can see right here, I'm pointing to a dot, and that dot is the month of January. Just did all the analysis this morning, and that is the number of homes that were placed on the market for the month of January. And you can see it is way off. As a matter of fact, it is lower than where we were during the COVID lockdown. That's that green line where that V that was down. That V was the lockdowns of April, and it's less than the lockdown of April. So we're really seeing this hunkering down exist. And just really quick to show you the number of missing homes in 2020 compared to the 3-year average prior to COVID, we were up 9%, missing 24,000 sellers. 24,000 sellers that would have come on did not. Homeowners decided to stay because of COVID. In 2021, it was down 7%, missing 17,700. In 2022, there were 19% fewer sellers that came on the market. 50,000 across Southern California. That is a lot of missing for sale signs. In the month of January, this is brand new, missing 32%. A third of the market didn't come on the market, missing 8,800 for sale signs for the month of January. So this is really kind of an issue where the higher rates are keeping and precluding homeowners from placing their homes on the market. But understand, there will be more for sale signs, just listed signs, as soon as we get rates that come down to a threshold where it will invite more homeowners to place their homes on the market. Now that we're below 6%, we're going to start to get there. Once we arrive at 5.5% later on this year, I'm saying by summer, some people say it'll happen in April or May. I'm being as completely conservative as possible on this. But as soon as they arrive at 5.5%, it's going to open up the door to more homes coming on the market as sellers don't feel as handcuffed to their homes because of these low rates. And know the lower that rates go, the more it will invite more homeowners to place their homes on the market. The inventory and where I see it going is it will slowly but surely, it's actually going down slowly but surely. And then we'll get to a point where if interest rates don't go down fast enough, we can actually increase the number of homes like we did last year. But I'm beginning to think that that's not what's going to happen because of the lack of homes coming on the market. Until more homes come on the market, we might see something like this, where there's only a slight incline in the inventory and actually breaking below 2022 numbers as far as available numbers of homes on the market. So that could happen. We'll have to stay tuned and watch. It'll all be on what happens to mortgage rates. We'll have to see when more inflation readings come out and all that. So there is a very, very low demand right now. It was demand during the fourth quarter that resembled what we saw during the Great Recession, but already that is gone, and we're seeing that the demand readings are really starting to rise rapidly and more like pandemic when we first went into the COVID lockdowns. That's kind of where demand's at right now, but it's changing really fast. It's almost hard to keep track of how fast it's changing. So understand that will continue to happen. And it's all because we have these interest rates at 5.99% now. They were going up for quite some time. You could see they were actually going up for such a long period of time that a lot of people were vacating the market and homeowners were not placing their homes on the market. And a lot was happening where it slowed down our fourth quarter. And you could see this all happened from August to October, where we reached 5% and so 7%. So once we had these higher rates for a while, it just created a really sluggish fourth quarter. And so the month of January is not going to be a lot of closings, but what I'm seeing is pending sales, which means by the time we get to the middle of this month, and for sure in March, we're going to start to see this show up in closed sales data. So that there is a real bounce that is occurring, and it's definitely a green shoot that I'm seeing. And that green shoot are the number of pending sales over a 30-day period, what I refer to as demand. And today it's at 9,600. It was really way down there before, and it's actually going up at a greater clip than I've seen in a while. It's up 31%, or 2,281 pending sales in just the last 2 weeks. And this is changing pretty fast on a daily basis. So last year at this time, we were at 13,913, which is 45% higher than where we are today, an extra 4,300 pending sales. The 3-year average is 13,638, so pretty similar, 42% higher. And know that where I actually see demand going is it's going to continue to go up at a pretty good pitch. And then we're going to get to the middle of March, and that's where it's still growing because you have to maintain your closing and you're putting new stuff into escrow, and it will slowly rise from there until it peaks sometime during the between April and May. And then after that, we're going to come down. But if you see this, so the first half of 2023 is going to look slower than the first half of 2022. But the second half of 2023 is going to look stronger than the second half of 2022. As long as this same narrative of what we're seeing right now in the data of increased pending sales as well as rates coming down, that is, with rates coming down, that's going to lead to more demand, more buyers entering the marketplace. So the speed of the market's actually changed. I'm actually pointing to where it's at right now. And it was a lot higher. You could see where it was in October. It was a lot higher, but it's coming down pretty darn fast. And that's another green shoot that we're seeing, and also shows that bounce. And this is where expect a market time. This is you place your home on the market when you open up escrow. It is not days on market. This is based upon the velocity of pending sales and the number of available homes. It's kind of like an absorption rate. And you can see right here that this is where it's at 68 days. It's down 25 days of time. So it was a lot higher. It was in the 80s prior to this. Now it's all the way down to 68. And last year we were at 26 at this time period. That's that orange line. Anything below 40 is insane. I had never seen it. Prior 2013 was there for a few weeks. Other than that, I wished it would never come back, and we were there for nearly 2 years. But now, so it's hard to compare it to that. If we compare it to the 3-year average, that's 75 days. So the market actually, if you're a buyer in it, there's not a lot available, and there's going to be a bit of competition. It's still a little bit sluggish where people do not want to extend. They do not want to overpay. However, if you see this, it's definitely a changed market. And where we're at right now, that blue line, it's going to continue to go down. It's actually going to dip below 60. 60 is actually what I refer to as a hot seller's market, but it's not. You can't really look at the flavor of the market as hot sellers or slight sellers or a balanced market, because from 60 to 90 or from 60 to 90 is a slight seller's market. From 90 to 120 days is what I refer to as a balanced market. And above 120 is buyers. Above 150 is deep buyers. And below 60 is a hot seller. So I can't utilize those statistics because what we follow with supply and demand is actually broken because of how high interest rates are right now. But we're going to continue along this line where it's going to be less than 60 days. So you can imagine that as interest rates fall and demand heats up, that it's going to be more come more towards a seller's market. It will become balanced, and then it will become a slight seller's market. The more rates fall, the more that it's going to go back to a more normal supply and demand model. And let's see. So the model that we follow, like I said, is a little bit broken, and it's broken. And I'm not going to show you this. Just know that we follow this. Those black triangles that I've circled there just shows that to the left of that blue line is when values go down. To the right is when values go up. Always when we have a 6-month inventory or less, which is above the purple line, we always have had values rise. That's that green area. For the first time, we've had values fall when we've had less than a 6-month inventory. And that is because what we follow in supply and demand is broken because of how high rates are. but know that we still have inventory of less than 6 months. So as rates fall, those triangles are going to move back to that green square. It's just a matter of when, and we will continue to keep everybody abreast of this. This is actually from calculatedriskblog.com. They do a fantastic job. He updates this on a monthly basis, just updated it. So we know as rates fall that this will change back. So if you want a copy of this, if you want a copy of the Housing Debrief, you need to be a subscriber. You'll automatically get a copy of this. And you can go to reportsonhousing.com to subscribe. Hit that subscribe button. And we are all over Southern California, San Diego, LA, Orange County, Riverside, San Bernardino, and Bay Area. I've said it before that it's coming out soon. We actually have everything all dialed in. We're just looking for the actual launch date, and it's imminent. It's coming right now. The most recent report that just came out is called Turning Up the Heat, because that's what's happening during the winter market. And it's $15 per month or $150 per year to subscribe. You get the first month free if you utilize the coupon code BOUNCE, because that is exactly what's going on right now. There is a bounce in the market. So that's all I have for everybody. I definitely appreciate you all tuning in again for another Housing Debrief. Episode 1 is in the books. We'll be back next Thursday at 3 o'clock for episode 2. Hope you have a great finish to your week and a fantastic weekend, and we will see you on the other side.